Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Firstly, Happy New Year. 2018, wow, what a whirlwind. When you look back at the amount of events, the events themselves, obviously coming off the back of White Chisora, Joshua unifying against Parker, great fight against Povetkin, Bellew fighting Usyk for the undisputed world championship. So many young stars coming through, but I get the feeling, I get the warmth that this is a new beginning and a new start, particularly for a lot of people. Still some great fighters who are coming into the back ends of their career. Bellew, we've just seen, leave the sport. You know, David Haye, leave the sport as well. Forgot to mention Bellew Haye as well in those fights last year. Amir Khan in the closing stage of his career. Kell Brook in the closing stage of his career. So many great fighters that probably are coming towards those final few fights. And then you look at this card and you see exactly the opposite. You know, it's only when I just saw Ted just shook hands at him and I was like thinking, wait, Ted, you're next to me. Main event at the O2. But this is great that you've got a young fighter, local fighter to the O2, who's had 15 fights and is willing to take these kind of steps against Sergio Garcia, European champion, top 5 of the WBC, top 15 with many other organisations as well. It's a massive step. And these young fighters are being prepared to step up to these levels quicker than historically they've done before. But it doesn't just apply to Ted Cheeseman, it applies to Lawrence Okoli. 10 fights in. Now I looked at his record last night and I'm looking at his rankings on BoxRec. I know BoxRec's not the governing bodies, but it's a good indication of where we're at. Number 8 in the world in BoxRec. He's had 10 fights. We know the Matty Askin fight wasn't the greatest fight in the world, but he jumped in that fight to fight for the British title. When again, historically, you'd have 18, 19 fights before you're prepared to do that. So in 10 fights, Lawrence Okoli has won the WBA International, the Commonwealth title, the British title. And now again, it's not easy finding him opponents. I mean, Waddy Camacho's in here somewhere, over there.
I'm over here, mate.
Oh, over there, yeah. It's like we should put an asterisk next to all these people's names. It's a bit like Anthony Joshua's opponents. They should have an asterisk. I'll fight him if you give me silly money. You know what I mean? Talk to you later, Waddy. But that's a good fight for the future. But we'll announce Lawrence's opponent shortly. It will be an international name because we want to progress him. He's not far from those fights. I want him to fight Denis Lebedev for the WBA title in 2019. That's what we want. Felix Cash, 10-0, stepping up to challenge for the Commonwealth title as well. And then the great thing is that young fighters are prepared to fight each other now. Craig Richards against Jake Ball. Well, we want to hear from those two later. I've seen it on social media. Let's see if we can see it in here. But this is a classic example of whoever loses that fight is out of the running for domestic and European titles for the time being. But they're prepared to fight each other because they believe they can win and they know that victory in that fight February 2nd will take them to the big fights in a brilliant light heavyweight division. John Doherty. Now we've seen him star with the GB squad in the Commonwealth Games as well. Brilliant young fighter, already had 2 fights, was with us on the Italian show recently. He's back in action. Fabio Wardley, who I got the joy to see the last time out on the White Chisora card. Really good heavyweight. Really good young heavyweight. Especially because I know that Dillian White's backing him. So I know he wouldn't be doing that if he hadn't shared the ring with him and enjoyed the time with him. And again, the heavyweight division better than ever. Before I go to Adam Smith and other fighters, again, Matchroom is about not just building great events and big events on the elite stage, it's about investing into the youth coming through into the sport of boxing. And we want to pick up all the top young amateur fighters. And when you look at the fighters that came through from the 2012 school, Luke Campbell challenged for a world title, lost to Jorge Linares, has another shot coming up. Cal Yafai won a world title. Callum Smith won a world title. Anthony Joshua, unified heavyweight world champion. And all the other fighters that haven't got to the world stage, but are close. Gamal Yafai, Martin Ward, all these guys. Now we have the new age coming through. Lawrence Okoli, Anthony Fowler, Joshua Boazzi. But even younger than that coming through, I'm delighted to announce a signing today of a very decorated young amateur, Commonwealth Games youth gold medalist, European champion as well. And a big round of applause, turning professional on February 2nd for Charles Frankham, joining the team. I know that our broadcast partner, Sky Sports, are particularly excited about this new era of young fighters coming through. And before we speak to the fighters, I'm going to pass over to Head of Boxing at Sky Sports, Adam Smith, to say a few words.
Thanks, Eddie. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a great Christmas. What a fantastic 2018 finish with the wonderful night at the O2. Not only the White Chisora rematch, but also Charlie Edwards. You know, what a scene that was when he won the world title. And you know, it just goes to show that stars can just appear and it can happen. And if you deep down believe in yourself, you can get there. And I think what Eddie said is that the opportunity is knocking for so many young fighters this year. The stage is there. You know, London has revolutionised in boxing. The O2's a phenomenal venue. You know, February the 2nd's a warm welcome back. Some great talent on the card, all sorts of levels. But the most important thing is that they've got this chance. They've got the chance to break through this year. You look at others as well: Joshua Boazzi, Joe Cordina, Anthony Fowler, Jordan Gill. What a great year he had last year. And you know, you've got to take the chances. Joe Hughes did in Italy when we were over there. You know, came back with a European title, and what a story that was. We want stories, we want narratives, we want personalities. You know, we know Lawrence Okoli and others have all of that. We want them to win, we want them to keep going, because stories and narratives build. And you know, that's where we get the huge fights, the likes of your Hay Bellews, the likes of the White Chisoras. But this is where it starts, and I think 2019 is a new era for the youngsters. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to know the 3 or 4 they're going to really be topping bills and going forward, and hopefully for them becoming box office stars themselves. The opportunity's there, the talent is huge around the gyms in the country. It's fantastic, and we can't wait to get going. February the 2nd, good luck guys, because this is your chance. Let's do it.
Thanks, Adam. Charles, firstly, to say a few words, you might as well kick us off. It's your debut. Are we Charles or are we Charlie? Okay, Charlie. I like Charlie. Gorgeous Charles Frankham. That's what we're going to go for. People have been telling me about you for a long time, even when you were 15 or 16, and now the opportunity awaits. You've been working hard in the gym with Tony Sims, ready for your debut on February the 2nd.
Yeah, been working really hard with Tony and the boys. Just look forward to getting in there now and doing the job.
Obviously, you won pretty much everything there was to win as an amateur. You see these guys coming through now, a lot of the guys that you saw on the GB setup as well. You feel like you're ready for the professional game?
Yeah, I feel like I'm ready now. Obviously, sparring with great fighters, likes of Martin Ward, Joe Cordina, Ricky Burns. So they're bringing me on loads. So it's all good.
And the aspirations for the career, obviously, want to go on and progress to be a world champion. Very young to be turning pro as well, but going to take it nice and slow, looking at trying to have 8 fights this year and move on to championships in 2020.
Yeah, just take my time and try and get as many bouts as I can.
So we're going to be boxing you all over the world in 2019. Look forward to your debut on February the 2nd. Fabio, greetings. Straight back onto a show. It's not quite as big as White Chisora, rather. Sorry, but you're back in the O2. You had great support there for that card. Fairly easy night's work for you.
Yeah,
brilliant to be back there.
Yeah, brilliant. Like December 22nd, it was a great card. It was a great night to be a part of, and it was great for that to be my first one, my announcement on the stage, and just to be out there and show off a bit of what I can do. Like I said, fairly easy night for me, fairly easy fight, comfortable win, but I'm good to go. I'm ready to go again. I'm excited to get out there up on the stage again and just show off and show out.
I think obviously we all know that domestically and on a global scene, the heavyweight division's on fire at the moment. I feel like you're ready for sort of area titles and English titles quite soon into 2019, and hopefully maybe even a British title at the end of the year.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm smart. Like I'll pay attention to what's going on in the landscape, but at the same time, I'm focused on my own career and I'm looking at who's got the titles and where the gaps are in the division. And there's a lot I can do, and I bring something different. I think that a lot of heavyweights out there don't have, and the skills and things that they can't really pull off. So yeah, definitely. I'm just looking forward to having a very busy year and just being out there and, like I say, just and making more of a name for myself.
We'll look forward to seeing you on February the 2nd. John, the doc, you've got that black eye. I wasn't sure if that was you spent the weekend up in Scotland or it was a sparring. You told me it was sparring. But been an exciting start from you. The first one, very, very quick work, and the second, you didn't waste any time in Italy, and making your O2 debut, if you like, on February the 2nd.
Definitely, my first 2 fights went very well, and I'm looking forward to the 2nd of February to get another knockout and keep going on my pro career.
Italy was a bit crazy, wasn't it? I mean, the whole thing, the ring mat was a little bit funky, wasn't it? And the ring walks were a bit weird. But it was a good experience, and I always feel like taking young fighters to those kind of new experiences and new commissions, and obviously travelling to fights as well in the programmes, all good for the experience moving forward.
Definitely, the ring was a bit slippy, different ring walk as you said, and yeah, it was more experience on the board, and obviously had those experience going abroad fighting as amateur, but it's a different story as a pro, and I've all got it on board now, and I'm looking forward to, as I said, the 2nd of February to get another knockout.
Obviously, we want to move you forward at a good pace, but how far do you feel you are away from those sort of domestic level guys right now? I know you want to get the ring craft and experience, but you seem to have a desire to move forward.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I would say I'm ready now. But obviously, Tony and yourself, I've got to keep my toes to the ground and just listen to Tony and keep doing what I'm doing. And when the opportunity comes, I'll be more than ready.
Young man, I know you're spending rounds with Felix. So I'm really pleased you got this one, because I know you've been wanting to be let off the leash for a long time. Commonwealth middleweight title for you, February the 2nd at the O2, and a massive chance to move forward into big championship fights in 2019.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's been a long time coming to get, a good domestic belt. So, the Commonwealth's up there. So I'm looking forward to going in there and putting the performance on, and showing everyone what I'm really about, and getting a victory, and then pushing for some big fights. I want this year, British title there, global titles there. So one fight at a time, obviously, but I've got full confidence. I'm going to go there and put a show on and get a win.
Has it frustrated you to fight at a slightly lower level recently? I know you've been waiting for this step up for a while now, but you're ready now. You think he's going to get the best out of you fighting the tougher guys?
Yeah, definitely. Like yourself, Eddie. Obviously, you've tried to make the fights. We've tried to make fights on paper, but whoever price yourself out will mess about. So, hopefully get this title now, the Commonwealth title, and they might be tempted to get a step in the ring, but we'll see what happens. One fight at a time. We're going there, bust this fellow up, and then we'll bring the next one in.
How far do you feel you are away from those kind of guys? Saw a good performance from Liam Williams recently to win the British middleweight title, but those are kind of names you want towards the back end of 2019?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I've sparred Liam Williams before. He's a good fighter. And he boxed very well in his last fight. He looked class, to be fair. So he'd be lying if he said he didn't. But I'm full confident in my ability. Sparred world champions, multiple world champions. And I know what I've been doing in the ring with them, and they know too. So I know sparring and fighting's a bit different, but it's the closest thing to it. And I know how good I am, and it's my time to show everyone.
Thank you, Felix Cash, changing for the Commonwealth middleweight title, Feb 2. A fight I can't wait for. It's been a long time coming, this fight. Craig Richards against Jake Ball. Craig, welcome. And this one's supposed to happen December 22nd. Now it's happening February the 2nd, and a lot of people very interested now in this fight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to pretend that it's not been frustrating the last few months with Jake Nobles keep pulling out. It's been frustrating, we was meant to fight 27th. I know, actually he called me out in June. He's been sitting on the bench injured since. Then we was meant to fight October. He lost his balls, followed through in his trousers, pulled out October. Then we was meant to fight December, we was meant to fight December, and then what happened? Why didn't you turn up December?
What do you mean? Why
December 22nd.
Because if you want to be truthfully honest,
Yeah.
okay, I accepted the fight December 1st, and then I left texts from Matchroom saying that you didn't want the fight.
What, December
okay?
22nd?
December 22nd, okay?
You're
And
lying.
then-
Come on, man. You're lying. You're
And then
lying.
when I told Dominic Ingles this, obviously he agreed to go with Liam Williams.
You're lying.
So how can I
You're
fight
lying. You're
without
lying.
my trainer in my corner?
No, you're lying. What do you mean you're training in your corner? You've been with him 2 seconds, you liar. You've been with him
madness,
2 seconds. He was away when he was meant to be training with me. So he was never with him in the first place. And he's
Craig,
putting
you're
another
worried about
excuse.
December and October.
Do you know what? February 2nd, just please, just turn up. February 2nd, just turn up this time.
You be there February.
Okay, I'll be there.
That's what you're
I'll
worried
be there.
about.
I've took precautions this time. We've got the missing posters ready.
That's it,
Just
perfect.
make sure you're there this time, yeah?
That's perfect, don't worry about it.
Make sure you're there, please.
I think the date you're referring to was Jake's hand injury that he had.
Oh, that silly hand injury. Everyone saw that, the little red mark on the side of your hand. Can you explain that for us, please, Jay?
No, that's it, hand injury. Thing is to me, why don't you realise, I've been through 2 fights with a hand injury. Whatever happens in the fight, they say I push through and I get the win. But when I'm going, listen, I'm not taking this fight lightly, so actually, respect to you, you shouldn't want to fight me unless I am at 100%.
Yeah,
Why
if
would you
you...
want to, no, why would you want me to fight me for me to come out and say, oh no, my hand was 100%? When I fight you February, you're coming me 100%. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why when February comes,
But I'm saying, if I wasn't 100% February, I'll still fight.
okay, that's you, innit? That's
Okay.
cool.
So you just pulled out.
So I'll see you
Okay,
February.
right, do you know what?
So I will
Listen,
see
listen,
you.
listen,
So I will see you
basically,
February then.
That's you know.
So I will
you
see you
cleared that
February
for me. So
then.
basically,
Okay.
you respected the fight. You
Because
didn't want to
you're
come in.
worrying too much about what's happened.
Okay,
and what's going to happen.
Yeah, because frustrated.
Why is you
It's
worried about what's
frustrating.
gonna happen
It's
to you
nasty. You're living a
February
nice life. You're relaxed. You don't care. You're not hungry. You don't care. But I do.
I'm not hungry.
You're
but-
pulling out,
but
and you're just
if
living a
I'm
nice
not
life.
hungry,
I'm sitting
if
here
I'm not
chilling for a
hungry,
year.
then it's going to be easy not work for you, isn't it?
It's not about easy or light work. It's just that you're not turning
No,
up.
but that's what I'm saying.
If you turn up and you lost or whatever, that's cool.
Then in
But
that case,
you not turning up's annoying.
then what
How about
happens
that?
February 2nd is going to be embarrassing for you, isn't it?
It's gonna be okay. Cool. Just turn up. I
That's
don't
what it's
care.
gonna be.
Just
That's
turn
what it's
up.
gonna be.
Train hard and turn up. That's what
No
I
worries
want.
then. Okay, thank you.
Alright, cool.
Okay, I believe Jake Paul's going to turn up on February 2nd. What type
I
of
hope so,
fight?
yeah.
Hopefully. What type of fight is this for you? And a very important one. You know, we saw you step in very late notice against Frank Buglioni. We know you weren't particularly ready for that fight. You did a great job. You've looked good coming back that light heavyweight. This is a massive fight for your career. How do you beat Jake Paul, and what do you need to do on February?
I know
2nd?
that now it's a different ball game. When I boxed Buglioni, I was just starting to think of making a transaction to light heavyweight. I weighed in at the light heavyweight limit. Time I got in the ring, I was 12 stone 4, which is pretty light for even a super middleweight. Over the year, I've took my time out. That's why I needed time to build up into the weight properly. Now I'm a lot heavier, hitting a lot harder, and I've developed into the weight properly. So I took the precautions. I never just looked at it like, okay, you stepped in like 5 days notice, and that was the reason. I looked at it like, what could you have done better? Buglioni was bigger than you at the time, this, that, and I've took precautions, and I've gone back to camp, and I've trained and got myself prepared and filled back into my natural weight. When I boxed before, previous as an amateur and stuff, I was always light heavyweight, but I thought turning pro, I thought being a super middleweight, I'd have the day rehydration to probably, get back to myself within the 24 hour. Of course, it wasn't working. I wasn't getting my punch power back or my energy back, and I realised I had to move back to my natural weight, and it took me a while to grow back into it, and I'm there now, and I'm ready to go.
Jake Paul is a big light heavyweight, punches hard with the backhand as well. How do you beat him on February 2nd?
We'll see February the 2nd.
He doesn't.
We'll see.
He doesn't.
We'll see. I'll beat him February 22nd. I'll beat him February
He
2nd.
doesn't. It's simple as that.
Okay, we'll see.
Jake, obviously, we know you've had your injuries, missing out on this fight. Sometimes things work out for the good. This is now turned into a big fight that a lot of people are interested in. The winner of this fight is going to have great profile moving forward to have a big domestic shot or even European title shot as well. I know how seriously you take the sport, and this is a big fight for your career.
Yeah, obviously Craig goes on about pulling out. What he doesn't realise is I haven't pulled out and then gone and fought somewhere else and got a paycheck. He's fought, he's been paid. I've gone a year without getting paid now. So I've pulled out due to injury. Not due to not wanting to fight Craig, because there's no man in the light heavyweight division less than Craig Richards who I would put out of a fight because I'm scared of. I'm not scared of no man. So I'm just looking forward. I've trained hard now. I've made a good transition with Dominic Ingles. We're training hard in the gym, and I'm looking forward to putting all the hard work. And it's been, well, I've had a lot of time built up on me now.
Okay, Jake, can I ask you a serious
Ready
question?
to fight.
Did you know that you was a little bit injured before fight week?
No, the injury comes 9 days before fight.
9 days before?
And match renewed, so you know.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So I'm looking forward to putting on a show, February 2nd.
Just to comment on that, so it's fair to everybody. you're right. We did know 9 days, and then Dominic said that we're going to see how it is over the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
But,
No,
yeah.
the comment, no. I was told, Matchroom told me, I had a scan on it. The first scan I could get was on the Monday, and they said, well, leave it to the results on the Monday.
Yeah, correct.
To let us know. So that's
Yeah.
why it wasn't announced until Friday.
Just as long as let's get back to
No,
the
that's
fight.
cool. Yeah, no, listen, we're praying hard, preparing right for it. So, listen, talk's cheap, and money builds houses, and the actions that I am going to show February 2nd can speak a lot louder than any words that I can say. So,
How exciting is it, both of you? Because, Craig, we've been with you for a long time, and Jake since your debut as well. That we have a fight here with this kind of spite and animosity, and it means so much to both guys. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You can't afford to lose this fight, nor can you.
no, of course not.
That's what's great about this fight.
But I won't lose this fight. Listen here, I respect Craig. I know Craig's a good fighter, and that's why. When I first called the fight on, obviously I was coming off the back of two good wins, and I only wanted to move up in levels of opponent, and that's what I see Craig as. But Craig isn't as good as me, and it's simple as. And listen, people think one other thing, but come fight night, I'll show it.
Okay, well, listen, lads, respect you both. I love you both. Someone's got to lose, unless it's a draw.
It's going to be him.
We've seen stranger things happen, but I'm looking forward to this one, February the 2nd, and be well in camp, you two. Not long to go now.
Nah.
So make sure you're all there and ready. The Sauce, Penny Boys, Lawrence and Cody, I'm sort of sitting at you watching these two thinking, I've been there, I've done that, I've been involved in this kind of thing before, yet you've only had 10 fights. And amazing experience for you in the ring. You know, we saw you win the title at Wembley, which was an incredible experience. You boxed at Bramall Lane, you boxed at the Millennium Stadium, you've won the WBA, you won the Commonwealth at York Hall, you won the British title as well, 10 fights in, you're fresh back from a long sparring camp with Tyson Fury as well. Seems like 2018 was just an incredible learning experience for you as a professional fighter.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I did a lot of learning inside the ring, a lot of learning outside the ring. I know what I like in fight build-ups and stuff that I need to work on moving forward as well. So it's definitely a good learning year. I packed in a lot of experience for 10 fights, and I'm happy moving forward into 2019 to bigger tests, more grudge matches, and going from there. I'm a little bit upset now because I've seen Jake and Craig go for it, and I'm just thinking like there's someone like Waddy Camacho in the building. Me and him could have been here doing the exact same thing, but I have to wait for people to, stop being worried about money, worried about various other stuff, and just really man up and taking fights.
It's a business game, my friend. It's a business game, yeah?
Okay. Sorry to mention you. I wasn't actually about you, but it's just just want to say you are, what I see the rest of the British cruiserweights as, which is, very vocal online, insulting me, insulting my performances, and never really up for fighting. But anyway, that's what you said.
You think one of the problems now is that because of your ranking, because of your position, you have probably having to move a little bit quicker than you necessarily should do in the pro game. Like, we all want, and fans always want fighters to move as quickly as possible. And listen, I love it because you guys are moving at a fast rate, but also remembering that you do have limited experience as a pro. And sometimes, like, you look at the Askin fight and see people, it was a bit boring at times, but you're fighting at Wembley against a guy who's extremely experienced, who's world ranked, and you won the fight, reasonably comfortably, but you haven't really got that experience to move forward. When we talk about a Lebedev fight and stuff like that, I believe you can beat Lebedev now, but the right thing to do would be to get that experience to fight at that level. It's just a case of balancing both, isn't it?
I think you're right. I think it is about balance, but I feel like in my amateur career I was pushed very fast, the same way I'm being pushed fast now. It's a weight division where there's a lot of good fighters, but then there's a big gap between the domestic level and then the world level. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting experience at the highest level on the biggest stages, but it's about taking what I learned and moving forward. So what gives me great confidence is looking at people like Andy Joshua. Like, I looked at his 10th fight and his fights now. He's a completely different fighter, same as anyone else's favourite fighters. I've been doing a lot of new work with someone like Barry Robinson there, which is, adding little bits of decision making, and that's what I'm looking to take forward into this year. It's just making good decisions.
Do you feel a lot of that is to learn to fight more on the inside, coming out of the Askin fight? Is that something you're trying to work on to be a more rounded fighter?
Yeah, it's working on my inside game, but also the decisions that get me to the inside. So I feel like as an amateur, there's a lot of separation. It's box at range, and as soon as you get in close, the refs break you up, and then you're back at range. So you don't really get to work on the inside. And in sparring, many people don't get on the inside with me. So when it comes to fights, I have to make the decision to work on the inside as opposed to doing the defensive thing, which is to smother. I need to start working, which is what I've been doing on advancement. So I look forward to my next few fights.
So do we. Next 48 hours, Lawrence Okoli, opponent announced for February the 2. And on to the main event. Welcome to Sergio Garcia. Sergio, thank you for coming to the UK today. And thank you for taking the fight against Ted Cheeseman. Excited for the opportunity to defend your title in London.
Sí, la verdad que es una oportunidad y un buen escaparate para el boxeo y para nosotros, y espero hacerlo lo mejor posible.
Yes, absolutely. In truth, it's a great opportunity for us and for boxing, and we're going to put on a show.
Experience-wise, you have a lot more than Ted Cheeseman. Do you feel that this will be the difference in the ring in February?
La verdad que sí, que es una ventaja que llevamos con él, pero bueno, eso no significa nada. Esto es boxeo y hay que subirse al ring y aplicarlo arriba.
Yes, it's true that this is the advantage I've got over him, but at the end of the day, this is boxing, and so I'll have to put on a performance on the night.
And finally, I know that your manager, Sergio Martinez, your promoter, feels though you're going to move to world level. This is the fight really before moving on to potentially challenge for a world title, given your rankings.
Bueno, me gusta que mi promotor apueste por mí. Yo creo que primero hay que superar retos como es el del día 2 de febrero y después veremos lo que viene a nivel mundial, pero primero hay que cumplir el día 2 y que salga todo como esperamos.
It's nice to hear my promoter backing me, but right now the challenge is on the 2nd of February, so I'll take care of that night and then we'll see what comes next. First and foremost in my mind is the 2nd of February, and we'll see what challenges lay ahead.
Thank you very much, Sergio. On to Ted. Ted, I'll do the translating for you. Obviously, a massive jump. I mean, you've been through this like Lawrence has with Byfield. The last fight got extremely heated. Now you're at the world level. Forget European level. I believe you're at world level against Sergio Garcia. No smack talk, just business, and really a massive night for your career on February the 2nd.
Yeah, of course. It's great to be headlining a bill just around the corner from where I grew up. And the thing is this fight, like last fight, was Byfield, and there was a lot of grit and a lot of trash between us. And that gives you the extra motivation. But for this fight, it's a European title. It's highly ranked with the world governing bodies. And the thing is, once you win a European title, there's only one other step after that. And when you turn pro as a professional fighter, I've sat where Charles has sat, I've done all this. And when you turn pro, your goal is to be a world champion. You don't know yourself fully if you're going to achieve that. You don't even know if you're going to get a shot at that. But I know if I win this fight on February the 2nd, and I'm highly confident I will, after watching my opponent's fights and studying his style and stuff, then I'm there, I'm in line, I'm basically there for a world title shot. And as you say, it's a world level fight. So I'm going to put on a good show again on February the 2nd, and it shows how much I'm improving and shows what level I'm at.
Is there a worry, obviously not from you, but even there is probably from the team that this comes real quick? Like you've been to the domestic level of Byfield, you've dealt with that, but normally you would have another 1, 2, 3, and then move on to European level. We're going to find out real quick how good you are, basically. We know you're British level, we know you can go beyond it, but this is the proof in the pudding, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. The thing is, I've got a great manager and a great coach with Tony and Charlie, and the thing is, they know what they're doing. They wouldn't take this fight if they're not confident in me. Tony ain't a man who'd like to embarrass himself and put his fighter in with someone who don't think they can win. If he didn't think I was good enough to do this, I wouldn't be fighting this fight. But obviously after the last fight we looked at, it was at British level, and to be honest, there ain't too many people there domestically. So this is a step I took. I looked at Sergio Garcia and I asked Charlie and Tony, I said, look, can I push for the European? I want to fight for the European. And they said, all right, we'll have a look at him, see what we think. A couple of days later, they said, oh, we're going to put it to Eddie. The fight's been made. So it shows opportunities in time. I knew when I fought for the British title that it was just that step I needed, and then opportunities will come. And now, again, if I go and win this fight, it can be career-changing.
Having watched Sergio Garcia myself and knowing that you are always in great fights, stylistically, this is set to be an absolute war between you two. We know that he's world ranked, top 5, I believe, with the WBC, top 15 with other governing bodies. I know Sergio Martinez personally. He's like one of their flagship guys who's looking to fight for the European title, and this is going to be a brutal fight for him, isn't it?
Of course, I'm going to take nothing away from my opponent. He's 28-0, but when you look at records, you look at my 15 opponents and you look at my last few opponents and the experience I've picked up in them last few fights, and then you look at Sergio's opponents. Obviously, look, you don't know exactly who these opponents are, so you can't take too much from them. He's not a crazy puncher like Kerman Larandro who stopped Bradley Skeet. He's only had 30 knockouts out of his 28, and he ain't fought world beaters. So obviously, I'm not going to take nothing away from him, because this is going to be a great scalp once I obviously win on February the 2nd. But for my record of fights I've had good tests and I've been managed really well, and I know I'm ready for this step, and I know there's a lot of great things to come after this.
Interesting, we saw likes of Lewis Ritson step up and fight a European level opponent who had similar kind of resume, had lost, but same kind of thing, and moved to that level. Wasn't quite ready, had his problems in camp as well. Before we go, I know you're only looking at this fight, I know you're probably tired of talking about it on social media, but Scott Fitzgerald against Anthony Fowler is made for the end of March as well. I get the impression by the way you're talking that it's really a case of, if I win British and European, I'm the governor in that division, and if I choose to fight you, it's down to me. But we do know that the winner of that fight against Ted Cheeseman for the British and European title was a major arena fight in 2019.
Yeah, of course, it's a major arena fight, but we've both got managers. Look, Dave Coldwell, they've shied away from the fight a few times already. They think this is the fight to make them ready. To be honest, Scott Fitzgerald's not exactly a test, because they're both going into unknown territory, so you don't know how good Scott Fitzgerald is. He's underperformed against journeyman so far. It might need a big fight like Fowler to make him step up, but they're obviously both confident in winning. But right now, if I go and win on February the 2nd, I hold the ace card, and the pair of them have got a pair of jokers, so like they got to bring something to the table, do you get what I mean? And if I'm getting opportunities for like a world title shot, could you imagine get an opportunity for a world title shot, win a world title, then fight Fowler, and it's like a mega fight, then it turns into like a pay-per-view fight, do you get what I mean? It's a public demand, but obviously it's a mini-scale fight now, the public want to see it. I'm boxing them to prove a point, but like you said earlier, you want to make box office and pay-per-view starters, and I'm aiming to do that sort of stuff, so let's see what the year brings us.
Good stuff. Well, first things first, February the 2nd at the O2, very pleased and proud to see you up there headlining and coming through the right way, 15-0 going for the European title. So much great young talent on the card, and still a couple of fights to be announced this week as well for February the 2nd. We're going to have head-to-heads now with Ted and Sergio, and also Craig and Jake, and then we're going to have one-on-ones with everybody who you need to chat to. Thanks for coming. We look forward to seeing you February 2nd at the O2. Thank you.
Sorry. Sergio, bring the belt up. Grazie, c'era.